We all reach critical points in our lives where our mental strength is tested. It might be a dead-end job, a toxic friend or colleague, or a struggling relationship. Whatever the challenge, you need to be strong, see things through a new lens, and take crucial action if you want to move through it successfully. Of course, it's hard to be mentally strong, especially when you feel stuck. The ability to break the mold and take a new direction mentally requires that extra grit, daring, and spunk that only the mentally strong people have, as they're prone to set themselves apart from the crowd. Where others see impenetrable barriers, they see challenges to overcome. In this video, we mention 19 signs of mentally strong people. Keep watching to know whether you have these habits or not. If not, don't worry. In fact, the hallmarks of mentally strong people are actually strategies that you can begin using today to be one of them. 1. They're emotionally intelligent. People believe that being mentally strong means you're unemotional, but that's wrong. You need to have the ability to balance your emotions with logic. It's not possible for you to be mentally strong without the ability to fully understand and tolerate strong negative emotions and do something productive with them. Unlike your IQ, which is specified, your EQ is a flexible skill that you can improve with acknowledging and effort. It's no wonder that 90% of top performers have high EQs, and people with high EQs earn $28,000 more annually than their low EQ counterparts. 2. They're confident. True confidence, as opposed to false confidence people are found to have, is a profound self-awareness that lets them clearly see their strengths and flaws. They're also known to earn higher wages and get promoted more quickly than others did. As Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. Your mentality has a powerful effect on your ability to succeed. 3. They embrace change. Mentally strong people are able to adapt to change quickly and stay reasonable in a problematic or unexpected situation. They have the confidence and know exactly that fear of change is a major threat to their success and happiness. They look for change that is lurking just around the corner and set an action plan to face the changes. Only when you embrace change can you find the good in it. So, decide to use each moment of adversity to recognize and capitalize on each opportunity that change creates, instead of choosing to recoil whenever something unfortunate happens and restrain from achieving your goals. 4. They say no. The more difficult it is for you to say no, the more likely you are to experience burnout, stress, and even depression. Mentally strong people know that saying no is healthy, and they have the self-esteem and foresight to make their no's clear without feeling ashamed, regret, or guilty. Instead, they feel liberation and freedom. Moreover, they understand how to exert self-control by saying no to even themselves. They delay enjoyment and avoid impulsive action that causes damage. They avoid phrases such as, "I'm not sure I can," or "I'm not certain." In fact, they feel comfortable standing up for themselves because they know that saying no to a new commitment honors their goals, responsibilities, values, and existing commitments. 5. They know how to deal with all kinds of people. The truth is, no matter who you are and what you do, there will be people who dislike you, don't agree with you, or naturally have difficult nature. But mentally strong people control their interactions with such people by keeping their feelings in check. When it comes to facing such people, they approach the situation rationally, then identify their emotions and don't allow anger or frustration to fuel the chaos. They also consider the other person's standpoint and are able to find common ground and solutions to problems. Yet, they accept that social rejection is unavoidable, so they don't try to please everybody or otherwise mistreat them. 6. They don't let anyone limit their joy. Mentally strong people feel good about everything they do or think. They won't let anyone's opinions or accomplishments take that away from them. They believe that regardless of what people think of them at any particular moment, one thing is certain: they're never as good or bad as people say they are. When your sense of pleasure and satisfaction are derived from comparing yourself to others, you are no longer the master of your own happiness. However, it's impossible to turn off your reactions to what others think of you. But don't limit yourself anyway. Just take people's opinions with a grain of salt. 7. They don't limit the joy of others. Mentally strong people don't have the habit of sizing people, pass judgment on others, and worry about whether they measure up or not because they know that everyone has something to offer, and they don't need to take other people down a notch in order to feel good about themselves. Instead of wasting your energy or time on limiting others, which are clearly massive energy stealers, funnel that energy into appreciation. When you celebrate the success of other people, you both benefit. 8. They aren't afraid to take risk. Mentally strong people know that when all is said and done, they will lament the chances they didn't take far more than they will their failures. People often say, "What's the worst that can happen to you? Will it kill you?" Yet, death isn't the worst thing that can happen to you. The worst thing is allowing yourself to die inside while you're still alive. 9. They accept what is and isn't in their control. Mentally strong people believe that they should change what they can't accept and accept what they can't change. Some people feel safe having everything managed, but there are many things that are outside our control. Wanting to be in control of everything is a classic sign of chronic anxiety and will also lead to stress and a loss of energy. It's better to save that strength for something that you can actually achieve, improve, or change. 10. They show gratitude. Mentally strong people believe that they have more than they need, rather than exclaim they need more. Being grateful significantly shifts our perspective and helps us keep on top of our worries and problems. Studies show that practicing gratitude helps us to be happier and more positive. Keeping a gratitude journal is proven to help our mood. It is very simple to do. Just writing down 3 things we are grateful for every day can have profound effects. 11. They are patient. Mentally strong people reflect and don't just react, which allows them to ponder and analyze circumstances thoroughly in order to make the best of each situation. Real change doesn't happen overnight, and it takes time and effort to achieve your dreams. This is why you should be patient, as reaching big goals takes more time to achieve. But don't forget to add so much emphasis on hustle these days. Patience is often confused with inactivity or lack of ambition. 12. They spend more time on self-improvement. Mentally strong people accept themselves for who they are, while simultaneously recognizing their need for self-improvement. Some people roll their eyes at someone who is reading a self-improvement book, or they're usually laughing at overweight people for hitting the gym. But the desire for self-growth is a sign of strength. Studies showed that people who exercised twice a week for 10 weeks felt more socially, intellectually, and athletically competent. Besides increasing their body image and self-esteem, they are responsible for the uptick in confidence, which is key to mental strength. So bettering yourself physically, spiritually, or mentally is tough to do and shows you want to create positive change in your life. 13. They are kind. Showing kindness, empathy, and compassion often takes courage and confidence. What if the recipient doesn't want your help, or your act of kindness isn't reciprocated? Mentally strong people are willing to take those social risks because they believe it's the rule of nature that all you give is eventually turned back to you. Many people seem to think to be kind means you're a pushover or a people pleaser, but showing empathy for elderly people who live alone, or compassion with children in an orphanage, and spending your spare time helping someone with a project could be a sign of strength. 14. They take responsibility. Mentally strong people take responsibility for what happens to them and don't blame bad luck or complain to other people when things go wrong. They actually tend to act and use this energy to move forward in a productive way, rather than wasting time moaning and complaining that things didn't go as well as they expected. You come to realize that good things are worth working for. So instead of feeling entitled or complaining about the unfairness of the world, you need to focus on what you can do to make your life and the lives of those you value better. 15. They get enough sleep. Mentally strong people know that their self-control, focus, and memory are all reduced when they don't get enough or the proper kind of sleep, so they make quality sleep a top priority. Getting enough sleep has a high effect on increasing your mental strength. When you sleep, your brain starts to remove toxic proteins, which are byproducts of neural activity when you are awake. But when you don't get enough sleep, the toxic proteins remain in your brain cells, wreaking havoc by impairing your ability to think accurately. 16. They set the necessary boundaries. Mentally strong people know that setting boundaries is a way to healthily exert power and thrive. They control their bad habits. For instance, they limit their caffeine intake as using too much caffeine can cause trouble, and they don't want it to get the better of them. Discipline is the key to healthy lifestyle, so you should take control of your body and mind because that transformed you into your own master, not a slave of your or someone else's desires. 17. They don't wait for an apology to forgive. Mentally strong people understand that life goes a lot smoother once you let go of the negative feelings and forgive even those who never said they were sorry. The negative emotions that come with holding on to grudges, hate, and anger creates a stress response in your body, and holding on to stress can have devastating consequences both physically and mentally. But when you forgive someone, it doesn't condone their actions, it simply frees you from being their eternal victim. 18. They work on their weaknesses rather than masking them. While many people work hard to disguise their weaknesses, mentally strong people invest their energy into improving their shortcomings because they don't believe they're invincible to failure, as well as don't let their weaknesses stop them from trying. There's a difference between speaking the truth and putting yourself down. Acknowledging you're bad at confronting people shows you're strong enough to admit your imperfections. On the other hand, recognizing your weaknesses can help you take positive action. You might delegate tasks that you struggled to do, or you could develop a plan to help you succeed despite your shortcomings. 19. They're a realistic optimist. Mentally strong people are capable to look for the silver lining and think on the bright side, but they don't allow their optimistic tendencies to blind them to reality. Positive thinking has become very popular recently. However, it has its drawbacks. When our optimism is unrealistic, it obviously doesn't help us to be strong mentally. But don't be pessimistic either. Always expecting the worst doesn't help us to be strong. Luckily, there is a middle way. A realistic optimist maintains a positive outlook but confirms the world as it is. You need to be optimistic but without fantasizing about what is impossible within the limits of reality.